though, and you choose to use it.
Understood.
Same thing with God. He gives you that choice. And yeah, we got a choice to look for truth, to accept the truth, and walk in that. And if we prefer lies, well, okay.
So I'm
You're
pretty
getting
much.
what you want.
So I'm pretty much like on the fence with my nuts right in the middle, right? Like, cause I used to be in a position
Everybody
where
is. Yeah.
got you, right?
And
My
here's
bad
the thing
for-
with the Holy Spirit. I mean, the Holy Spirit tells you to do something this second, this point in time. Your choice is whether to obey that or not.
Yeah.
And in the Bible, I mean, there's been some pretty crazy stuff, right? Like Abraham sacrificing Isaac. Dude, if you go sacrifice your son, there ain't any Christians that would say, oh, he's hearing from the Holy Spirit. It wouldn't happen today. They'd say, oh, you need psychological help or something like that. And,
Yeah.
but that's a story that's in the Bible. But if it was indeed the Holy Spirit, then yeah.
Who are you? You can't argue against it.
You either do it or you don't.
Got you. Nah, bro, that's a tough.
Who's gonna argue with that creator of the universe? So it comes down to the question: did you really hear from the Holy Spirit? That's what that is. So the devil can imitate God. Yeah, that's nuts. I'm sorry. Then we're totally helpless.
Yeah.
We'd be totally helpless.
Yeah.
Because
If there's no differentiator, no indicator to identify the difference, then you're better off, I guess, navigating it yourself, if anything. I mean, from my point of view, if it's that similar, right? If God and devil is that similar,
yeah.
well, shit, I may as well figure this out some other way.
I was dwelling on that, and I don't know if God speaks to us in dreams or not, but I had a dream.
This was recent or old time?
Years ago.
Got you.
And the dream was I was in a big city, and there was a voice that said, okay, the devil controls half the traffic lights and God controls the other half. Now you're driving along and there's a green light. Well, if it's the devil, he gives you a green light when a semi's going down the other street, right? You get T-boned, and that sounds like what the devil would want, right? But if it's God's, it means straight going. But you can't tell. So what would you do at that light? You'd stop, look both ways, and rely on your own understanding rather than the traffic lights.
That's a good analogy.
It's a perfect analogy. It came to me in a dream. So how could God, if there's intelligence that wanted to get people out of their evil and wickedness, and how could he not communicate clearly? Then that's what I said. Yeah, the communication is clear, but the human heart says, nah, I don't want to do that. That's more likely. So, yeah. I can't speak for what God would ask people to do, how difficult it would be, or anything like that. So who knows?
That's such a touchy topic, bro. It's I don't know, man. It's either choose to expect the right answers or grow up to the point where you decide to do.
I think it's crazy to come to a conclusion that the designer of all this life, you're gonna give them the middle finger and say, I'm gonna do things my own way. But it would be the truth of it.
Would you say that anybody that doesn't do it his way is negative or bad?
Well, that's up to him.
The reason I'm saying this, okay, like from a moral perspective, from a just saying, okay, let's say if there's good and there's bad.
Yeah.
And the person that chooses to not do his way, you're saying that automatically is bad? There's no such thing
there's this aspect
Or
of
can there be multiple goods?
no. I mean, that's where the definition of good is what God defines as good. So if someone is truly seeking God and they mistakenly say, I hear you, but I'm going to do things my own way, there's other verses that talk about God being like a father and I believe his son, his children, right? And it says God chastens those he loves. It's like, all right, you're gonna let your kid go play in the street and say you love him, or are you gonna reprimand him and slap his ass for playing in the street so he doesn't do it again? And if God comes down and chastens that person, I'm not gonna. That person might figure it out and say, "Oh, next time I'm gonna obey." That's just kind of like common sense, but it requires clear communication, doesn't it?
And also at some point, I'm just assuming from a regular relation perspective, if we connect to God, at some point God won't do that. At some point God won't chasten me.
At that
Right?
point, if you're reprobate child, yeah, he won't overtake your free will. I don't think you'd be a robot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, goes back to marriage. Okay. Part of marriage, of course, is love. Is love a feeling or a choice?
I don't know, man.
Well, everybody talks about it.
Well,
It's like,
everybody talks of it as a feeling,
yeah.
but if we want to get logical, I mean, I don't tell people, I try to not even use that word.
I know, yeah.
You know what I
'cause,
mean?
Well, you shouldn't. Why use words that you don't know what it means?
Yeah, well, I still do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still do that.
And
but
then the other person can take it and do whatever that word is.
to them,
Yes.
okay.
And you said it. Yeah, but that's
It's not how I meant it, baby.
that's my definition,
Yeah.
and that happens both ways. So, yeah, we just go to a Bible study on Tuesday nights.
So yeah, what is love?
Well, they're all of that idea. Love is a feeling. And I'm like, no, it's a choice.
It's a choice.
And it's
Everybody
a
in this group is against you in this?
yeah.
Got you. I need to step in there and be like,
Yeah,
two people, it's a choice.
it's a choice because, well, first off, there's a bunch of commands in the Bible. Jesus said, love God with your whole heart, mind, and soul. Love your neighbor as yourself.
That's a choice.
Yeah,
To
of
do
course,
that.
duh.
That's a choice.
And
You don't have
either you
to.
choose to obey or you don't. So, yeah. Now, if you
So could it be, talking about, could it be the act of choosing to love? The act of choosing is a choice. The act of applying love is a choice,
Yeah.
but
Now-
the principle of it is still a feeling. Is that what
But
it is? Could that be what they're meaning?
If you're if you're choosing to love somebody, does that mean they accept it as love? They might just totally disinterpret it or actually outright reject love.
So then that